Hi, it's Alexander Sebastian, back to you with a series on parents as partners. And today we're going to talk about something that parents are putting off thinking about for a long time until it's almost too late. And that's the cost of their child going on to university, and indeed whether that's the best choice for the child or not. You know, now with most middle class people thinking that the only way to get access to the good life, what they used to call the American dream, is that their kids have to get a college education. The wealthy people know that it's through their connections and their family circles that their offspring are going to get up or stay up in the wealthy circles. And for the poor people, well, they're just trying to stay ahead of the man and pay the bills and stay healthy so they don't have to go to the hospital. But the middle class, they're striving to get into the universities so they can get that good job, so they can get that the right partner and get that social status that everybody strives after, so they can live the good life, huh? So today we're going to look at that and see if indeed that is the best choice for your child. Here in Asia, most kids go to universities, especially here in Korea. The parents and the grandparents will do everything they have to squeeze enough dollars out to get their children into some university so that they have a university diploma. Of course, there's not enough jobs for everybody. And there's a lot of disappointment, and there's a lot of unemployed people in their 20s still living with their parents, not knowing what they're going to do, and suffering from this this dream that wasn't fulfilled. Huh? And in North America and in Europe, the same situation, because the parents were promised a dream, and most of it came true if they got a university diploma. But it's not the case for this generation, or even for the millennials, because there are just too many kids going to university and leaving all the other possibilities, such as starting their own business or going into a skilled trade such as plumber or woodworker, or even the computer sciences. You don't need a university degree to be a programmer or to work in robotics. You just need a good background in those skills and a sense of what the magic is in the mechanical and electronic world. So today we're going to look at the cost of going to university, and then we're going to look at the opportunity cost. That means the money that is lost if the child is going to university and not working. So first, if you bear with me, I put it up here on the board. I hope you can see this clearly. So this is the cost of college, and I've divided it into 4 categories. And the first category is college tuition. The next category is room and board. The next category is books and supplies. And the 4th category is pocket money, and there's a 5th category, transportation. Transportation to get from wherever they're living to the school and back to home for the holidays, etc. So you can see that in the States, the college tuition can be divided into public schools or private schools. And for in-state public school, the tuition runs around $10,000 a year for someone who comes from that state. And if they're out of state, it will be about $24,000 if you're not a resident of that state. And if you go to a private school, it can be anywhere from $33,000, that's just the tuition, and up, of course, for the Ivy Leagues, going into astronomical sums. The second factor, room and board for 8 months, because they're home at Christmas time and they're off for the summertime, so their room and board actually only covers 8 months, and it runs about $10,000. Books, supplies, computers, etc., that'll be another $1,400 a year. Pocket money for 8 months at $20 a day comes to around $5,000 for those 8 months. And then the transportation $200 a month, comes out to $1,600. So it's going to run about $28,000 a year, and that's for over 4 years, hoping that the child graduates. It's no longer a child, but hoping the young adult graduates in the 4 years. So the total cost for those 4 years will be about $112,000 US. I don't think these are exaggerated. I've got these figures off the internet from several reliable sources. So I think that's what you can look at for a 4-year college education in-state at a public institution. So a little over $100,000. Now, is it going to pay off in the long run? That's the important thing. Now we're going to look at the opportunity costs. These are the costs that your son or daughter will be giving up if they go to university and are sitting at a desk or doing whatever they're doing there when they could be out making money. So I'm going to move the camera a little closer so you can read this. So a high school graduate, according to the statistics, when they get out of school, they will make about $23,000 a year. That's $23,000, which is just at a little over $10 an hour, the minimum wage, and it's hopefully it's going to go up. So over 4 years, that's $92,000 that they will be making. Now imagine that they were at university. You would be having to pay at university, as we showed earlier, $112,000. Well, imagine you gave them this $112,000 that you would have to pay if they went to university, and they're still at home. Imagine they're still living at home. They save $50,000 of this $90,000. So that would give them about $10,000 a year to spend in spending money, because we calculated spending money in here. So that would give them $162,000 when they're age 22 that they would have in cash. Now, if they make just 5% interest on that, this will bring them a revenue of $8,100 a year in addition to whatever else they're making. So let's say that they have their salary by the time they're 22 is $27,000 plus the $8,000 that they're making from up here, which is on the $162,000. So they're making $8,000. That means that their salary or their revenue at age 22 is $35,000. Now, according to statistics, the graduates of the year who graduated in the year 2015 from a 4-year university, 39% of those students earned just $25,000. So the high school graduate who would be working on this scheme with the generous contribution of their parents are doing pretty well at $35,000. Now, that's if they just took this money and let it run at 5%. And the stock market traditionally is made between 7 and 8%. So this is a pretty conservative estimate. Other options of that would be that they put it into a business and could start their own business. If they did put it into a business, they have a 50% chance that their business will still be around 5 years later. If they're in the bottom of that half of that 50%, they lose their investment. But they certainly will have gained knowledge. If they are successful and their business is still going, then their chances of the revenue are pretty high that it will be somewhere between $70,000 and $100,000 for a small business enterprise after the first 5 years. So that's pretty good for a high school diploma. Plus the advantage of being their own boss and the downsides, all the sweat and blood, sweat and tears and growth pains. But being your own boss does certainly have an element of pride with it and a sense of satisfaction. And so that your child would be about 26, 27 then. So that's pretty good. Now, other options are that they put it in real estate. They buy one house, and you know how to use leverage to get another house and build up a small empire in real estate, which has a pretty good return, and it's a pretty, you really don't have to be a genius, but you have to be careful, you have to be a good landlord, and it's a pretty solid, there are ups and downs, but not like in the stock market or in a business. The other option is financial investments, such as bonds and stocks, which have a return, as we said, of 7%, but even with a conservative return of only 5% through conservative investment, would give them quite a handy revenue every year. Now, if this revenue is saved, by the time they are 50, they will have up to $1 million in savings that are producing interest or dividends or both, and they can retire in their early 50s if they continue to make that 7%. $1 million at 7% is $70,000 a year. Of course, you have to pay taxes on that, but still $70,000 for not working when you're in your 50s is a pretty, it's quite an accomplishment. There's not many people who have achieved this, and something they can be proud of, and they can keep working. And if they go into a skilled trade or into a business they start the business that they like, they can be making quite a good salary by the time they're 50, and plus they are their own boss. How many people get burnt out and just get fed up by the time they're 50 because they just don't like the office environment anymore, or the corporate environment? So these people are their own boss. There's always an element of pride in that. Flexibility of work, the kind of work, the people they want to work with. They don't have to put up with someone who they think is a jerk above them. So there are a lot of advantages. Of course, it's hard work, blood, sweat, and tears if you start your own business. But in a skilled trade, you can work for somebody else. They're in very high demand and will continue to be in high demand, as everybody thinks that they have to have a university degree. And young people today don't know how to use tools and use their hands and solve real problems that are not just on computers. So the demand for plumbers, woodworkers, electricians, construction jobs will continue to grow over the years. So something to think about, and we are in that situation now. My son's graduating this year, and he's not going to university, although he's got an international baccalaureate diploma, or will have one in a couple of months, and he's a very bright young man. But he's decided to go work for a grocer or for a temporary work office where he can get lots of experience in different jobs and meet different people, something he hasn't done. He's always been in an international school and kind of a very closed environment. So this will be a good experience for him, and hopefully he will find his passion and something he's interested in, or start a business, or go into skilled trades, or whatever he wants to do. We'll support him on that. It's a journey, isn't it, for all of us? And hope you can find the right thing that suits your son or daughter and your pocketbook, and all the best to you. So again, this is Alexander Sebastian with Parents as Partners, signing off again tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe, sign up, and I promise you more interesting and hopefully useful for you information in the next episode. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.